again.
Welcome back to the Reverbium podcast. This is the second attempt at this because my mic decided not to work.
Don't say that.
No, we're gonna say it. We're gonna say it. We need people to know.
We're one take bitches.
We're not one take bitches, Sean. We're not one take bitches. But yeah, we
don't mess up. He lies. I listen to him. He's lying.
My name is Jimmy.
And I'm Sean.
There was we can't make the same joke, Sean, because you were too quick on it. Damn it! We had an Internet Explorer joke planned. We had a JAACKMAATE'S golden ticket joke planned. That was going to be the title. It's fine. We've
ruined it. We've mentioned it, so it's fine.
It's fine. Yes, we almost got JAACKMAATE'S golden ticket. That is going to be the title of this podcast because it's partially true, but we didn't. So
unfortunately, we didn't. But
we've already done like 5 minutes of this, and we have to redo it. So I'm not going to run through everything. But
so you get to listen. Well, I get to listen to boring
me talking
WWE
about wrestling
news.
again.
Yeah, for the second time, which is just what I want. Kill me now.
But yeah, the main topic of this podcast will be going over the confirmed picks of the Premier League Hall of Fame, which we talked about in the last podcast. So go watch the last podcast if you want to see our picks. But let's get into the WWE news once again. This Sunday was...
I mean, we don't have to. We could just leave it.
We're doing it. This Sunday was Wrestlemania Backlash. Wrestlemania Backlash did take place. There was a pre-show match between Sheamus and Ricochet. That was who was in it. It was a great match, if not a bit short.
Ricochet these nuts off your butt.
That was... You were quieter last time. He's just lost all hope now. We had a stinker, so
I've got to make it interesting somehow.
Yeah. It was a short match, but it was sweet. It was just a alright opener. Right pre-show match. But the main card opened with triple threat match between Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley. It was just a good opener. I haven't got really much to say about it. Thankfully, Rhea Ripley got the win. Charlotte did not pick up another championship reign, which is what we all love to see. The next match was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships with the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic, going up against the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. The Dirty Dogs attacked Dominic during the pre-show, and he was out for about 3/4 of this match. He came out near the end. It was the match was way better than expected and had a great end result with the Mysterios picking up a victory and being the first father-son tag team in WWE history. So yeah, that was a good match. Next one is the most divisive match on the card. I won't go through a lot of it again, but it was sponsored by Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which was a huge sponsor in this show, and it was supposed to be a lumberjack match between Damian Priest and The Miz, but it ended up being a lumberjack match surrounded by zombies. Thankfully, Damian Priest...
The zombies famous for being lumberjacks.
Yeah. They followed the lumberjack rules very well, though, Sean. They did everything they needed to do. They didn't...
Good old zombies, can always rely on them.
I said this before, but I'll say it again here shortly. Wrestling's inherently stupid, so I didn't mind this as much.
Well, I can't believe you're slagging off wrestling. Disgraceful.
But it is. It's full of dumb ideas a lot of the time. But
You're full of dumb ideas most of the time.
You're not wrong. Damian Priest got the win here. The Miz got injured, his first injury in 15 years of competing. But yeah, it was an average match. Next up was the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair, the champion, versus Bayley. The match was good, but it had a very messy finish. That seemed like Bianca was trying to use her hair to keep Bayley down, but ended up sort of slipping from her. So it was unfortunate, but was a good match either way. The last 2 matches on this card were both fantastic. First one being the WWE Championship triple threat between Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman. Even Braun Strowman looked good in this match. Everyone looked good. Braun nearly killed himself on a dive. Bobby and Drew had a good moment where Drew threw Bobby through a not backstage, but a thing on the stage, and Bobby later came back and snuck the victory on Braun Strowman to retain. Just an excellent match. The Universal Championship match main event between Roman Reigns and Cesaro was my match of the night. The in-ring storytelling was amazing. Cesaro looked great in defeat, and Roman Reigns is a great heel, as he has proven in the past. Roman obviously got the win here. We weren't expecting him to drop the belt, but it was nice to see Cesaro look great in defeat. Cesaro was also attacked by Jey Uso and Seth Rollins to close out the show. So that is WrestleMania Backlash. We got that done in about 2 minutes faster. Even though we probably skipped over a bunch of things that we talked about.
No one cares. No one cares.
I mean, not wrestling related. I just don't remember what we talked about before that. But anyway, a few more wrestling bits and then we can move on. Zelina Vega was spotted at Thea Trinidad, I should say, was spotted at the WWE Performance Center. She was released a few months back. I don't remember exactly when, but it was during the whole unionization conversation of wrestling. But she was spotted back, so maybe she might be coming back, but we'll see. Hell in a Cell will be the next pay-per-view set for WWE. It'll take place on June 20th. They changed it up. It's usually Money in the Bank during this time. Don't mind me. I'm trying to look up something that I have on the list.
Wow, be prepared.
Yeah, I accidentally crossed it off before. But yeah.
Can't get the fucking staff these days.
Anyway, speaking of releases, a bunch of NXT stars were released. Alexander Wolf was released. Jessamine Duke was released. Vanessa Bourne. Brandy Lauren. Ezra Judge. Kavati Dalal. And there may be more, but this is what this list has. So, yeah, just another slate of releases. We all know the story by now. WWE just like to get rid of people. I can say there's a lot of missed opportunities here. Alexander Wolf was on TV this week, so it was a bit of a weird one, but I guess they were just writing him out. So fair enough. So we're done with WWE for now, but we have a bit more news from different companies. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please don't take our video down. I know you like doing that. But Will Ospreay has had to vacate his IWGP Heavyweight Championship due to a neck injury. Pretty big news on that front. But that's all we've got right now. But AEW Dynamite will be moving to TBS Network in 2022. And a new hour of programming on Friday. Starting Friday, August 13th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Will be set for TNT, and the show will be called Rampage. So yeah, that is all of my wrestling news. Thank God.
Woo.
Well, we'll move on. I think we'll save some of like the sports stuff till later on because it relates to our main event. So we'll do a bit of TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll do a bit of TV and movie news. Friends has a reunion coming up. It's not going to be a proper TV show, but it will be a reunion of the cast, and it's set for May 27th, coming out on HBO Max. I have no idea.
They haven't said in the UK
it's in
yet.
The UK yet, yeah.
So they haven't said. It's presumed that Sky will come out soon. And basically say that they're going to have it. They're the most likely, but yeah, nothing's been said for UK at the moment. So that sucks.
There will also be a iCarly revival taking place on June 17th, I believe.
Oh yeah.
I don't know much about it other than some of the actors aren't returning, but you will see a few of the big names. So if any iCarly fans, be on the lookout for that.
Who's not an iCarly fan?
We're all iCarly fans. Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill will be returning for an Enola Holmes sequel. I have not seen the first one, so
I have. It was alright.
Okay.
It was alright.
Alright.
It was a little while. Well, so it was a little while ago, so I don't remember it that well, if I'm honest. But yeah. It was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. AT&T, who own Warner Media, who are the company in question, here have decided to sell Warner Media to Discovery, or at least sell a majority share, I think, to them. So HBO and Warner Bros. Will now be merged with Discovery. It might change the shape of things to come. HBO Max might see some changes. So yeah, that will be taking place. I also have John Boyega returning for a sequel to Attack the Block, which was the movie he before Star Wars he really gained traction from. Maybe a lot of English followers of him would know him from. So yeah, I have a few more, but have you got anything you want to slot in
here? Just that Seth Rogen this week came out and said that he has no plans to work with James Franco again. Obviously they've worked together on quite a few things, mainly Pineapple Express, what I think of.
This is the end.
And yeah, this is the end. I was trying to think what it was called. Many other thing. Was he in Bad Neighbours, James Franco?
His brother was one, I think.
Right.
I don't think he
but
was.
Yeah, this came after a round of some accusations against James Franco. I'm not sure exactly what they were.
We won't go into detail, but
yeah. But yeah, so he came out and said he has no plans to work with him in the future. Seth Rogen currently, I can't think what it's called he's working on, but he's gone through quite a big transformation for it, where he's got rid of the beard, that iconic beard.
He definitely looks different.
Yeah, that he does look quite unrecognizable, if I'm honest. From when I saw it, I'm quickly trying to find what it is, but
that's fair enough.
I can't off the top of my
head. I'll just say a couple things then.
No, I can't.
Well,
I generally don't know what it was.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania has begun filming. That's pretty much all the news I have on that. If you are an Ant-Man fan or a Marvel fan, there you go. And we have a bunch of DC news, which I am actually quite excited for. A new Batman animated series is making its way to HBO Max in the near future. It will be made by Bruce Timm, who was responsible for a lot of the older Batman animated shows.
Bratman. Who's Bratman?
Batman, sorry. Batman. Bratman. My favourite superhero, Bratman. Matt Reeves, who is the director of the newest Batman movies coming out with Robert Pattinson, and J.J. Abrams. So I don't really know if this is going to be set in Matt Reeves' little universe that he's creating, but we will be seeing a new Batman animated series. We'll also be seeing a new Superman show, animated show, starring Jack Quaid from The Boys. You may know him from that. And he'll be starring as a younger Clark Kent. It'll also be featuring Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, and it will sort of center around those three. So yeah, that will also be coming to HBO Max. And one little last bit of news: fans of the comics or the game Injustice: Gods Among Us will be happy to know that it is receiving an animated movie adaptation. I am excited for this. It's one of the better universe stories out there, and it will be fun to see what they do with it in a animated movie. So yeah, that is all of my movie and TV stories. Sean, anything else on that?
Nothing else movie and TV. I don't really know where this one would fit. Obviously, we mentioned about making a joke, so I'm just going to shove it in here. The much beloved Internet Explorer is going to be shut down. It'll probably take about 2 years to shut down because it's not very quick at doing anything.
That was a good one. I'll give you that.
But obviously, it comes with the fact Microsoft now have Edge as their main browser. Not very much fan of that either, but I'm not going to go into why I do and don't like different web browsers.
Why? That's more interesting than wrestling.
Oh, it probably is. But yeah, so Edge was taken over in 2015. So yeah, it's taken 6 years to be taken down. So long overdue. So yeah, if you are someone who uses Internet Explorer still, why? Kill yourself.
Whoa. We can't have...
To be fair, they probably have already if they're using Internet Explorer because they just haven't been able to do what they want to do. But yeah,
to be fair, if they were going to, it would probably happen in 50 years' time.
Yeah, but if you do use it, you're gonna have to find a different one. I'd recommend Chrome.
I just want
not an ad.
I want to say YouTube. We are not advocating self-harm or any sort of. It was a slight joke, and he apologizes profusely to everyone.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, not an ad. Use Google Chrome. Use Google Chrome.
We'll move on to gaming news now. Where we'll start off with a pretty bad. It's not really gaming news, but it revolves around the gaming industry. So IGN, a lot of people will know who IGN are. Gaming news, entertainment news site. They recently posted something about supporting Palestine. You know, they put out donation links, wanted people to, get involved. And IGN Israel did not like this at all, and they said,
"Oh, I wonder why."
They support the IDF. They don't want this, that, blah blah blah. And so you might think, okay, IGN Israel might get a talking to. No, Ziff Davis and the higher ups at IGN, the corporate side of IGN, basically went, you know what? They're right. Let's take down everything we've got here. And put out a statement basically saying we're not trying to pick sides. To which the staff members at IGN penned an open letter to management, basically telling them they wanted an open discussion and that they didn't agree. So yeah, that's pretty big story, to be fair. I've not given it the justice that it deserves, really. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess. The whole situation, not just this. It's a bit of a mess, to put it lightly.
You could say that.
You could say that. But we won't, like we say every week, we won't go into into detail. Sorry,
we don't do that shit.
We're an entertainment channel. It's not entertainment. It's people's lives. So yeah, we'll get on to actual gaming news now. The Last of Us 2 is getting a 60 FPS PS5 upgrade. I don't know if it's an upgrade or just an update for PS5, but it will be happening. So the game will run smoother than before for those that haven't tried it or are planning a replay anytime soon. And the final thing I have on this list to do with gaming is the Cold War / Warzone update for Call of Duty. Which is the 80s update, I think. It's called Reloaded, I believe. I don't know. But it features... Well, it doesn't feature because you have to buy them, but you can buy the skins for Rambo or John McClane from Rambo or Die Hard, respectively. There are new modes, limited time modes, I should say. There's new areas in Warzone. I think Nakatomi Plaza is now in downtown. There's some POW camps as well. So, yeah. That's a fun little addition. There was a lot of buffs on a lot of guns. The Swiss, the new sniper rifle, looks really good now. ADS is fastest. It might overtake the Kar 98 as the best. The PPSH has got another buff, which is nice to see. The AK-74U has got a debuff, I believe, or at least a change. A lot of the snipers have had minor changes on Cold War. but they've been minor, I believe. I think they made it out to be worse than it actually was. But they added flinch back, I think, or increased flinch. So yeah, that is all for gaming news. Sports.
Yeah,
That's all I've got. Sports. Yeah.
Thoughts?
You go first.
Sports star. Okay. I'll start with my usual Formula One section.
Oh no, it's not
Jimmy-
it for gaming news.
Oh, fucking hell, Jimmy.
No! Oh no! It's good our transition was so
You're
shit.
teasing me. You're
I'm
teasing
teasing
me.
you. I'm teasing. It's only a little thing. But Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out this week, and Mass Effect 3 multiplayer has been much discussed. People love it. It's actually really good. It's kind of like a horde mode style thing, but it was very popular and still is. And BioWare came out and basically said that depending on the response to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, they would be down to consider adding the multiplayer to it or an updated version. So yeah, if you were on the fence before about buying the Legendary Edition, you shouldn't. It's good. It's great, especially if you haven't played it before. Buy it because they might be adding multiplayer if you buy it. You know. So yeah, back to sports. Over to you.
As I was saying,
This chair is really creaky. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep interrupting you, Sean. Just go. He's not impressed. The chair's
Jimmy
really
had his
creaky.
God.
Go.
Jimmy had his WWE section. I'm a Formula One. Please don't talk anymore, Jimmy, so I just want to get through it. We'd said previously that the Turkish Grand Prix was going to be added to the calendar in place of the Canadian Grand Prix. That's no longer happening.
Oh really?
Yeah, basically because Turkey's been put on a red list for basically everyone.
Yeah.
They can't travel there. So what they have done, they have moved the French Grand Prix forward a week into the slot where the Canadian Grand Prix should be, and then they have put a second Austrian Grand Prix where that French Grand Prix was. So it should have the same number of Grand Prix, but it'll be the same as last year, where it will have the Austrian and the Styrian Grand Prix.
Is it a different track or is it the same?
No, you cannot change
Okay.
the layout for F1 cars at the Austrian Grand Prix, which is stupid because at the French Grand Prix you can. The French
Right.
Grand Prix has like 140 different layouts of the track you can do. They chose the most boring one for Formula One. They could have held a second one there with a different track layout. They haven't done that because they're fucking stupid. Instead, they've gone to a small, fast track where you cannot change the layout because if you did change the layout, it'd probably be like a 30-second lap, if that.
I see.
But
Okay,
they did it
fair
last
enough.
year. It's probably why they did it last year because they already have a name for the second one. Basically, if you didn't know, no two Grand Prix in the same year can have the same name. So even though there's two in Austria, it's not two Austrian Grand Prix. It's the Austrian and the Styrian because the region in Austria is Styria, so the name after that. So they probably did that for the same thing because they already have a Grand Prix of that name that they can just use that again.
Fair enough.
But
It's
yeah,
quite
so
interesting.
Austria's a decent track. It's not the worst. I think it just would have been nice for fans to be able to go to Paul Ricard for a second time with a different track layout to see how the cars would be on a different layout because the French Grand Prix is known for being very boring with the current layout. But we don't get that. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday as I'm recording this. Lando Norris announced that he's under a multi-year deal with McLaren.
Yeah.
So it does mean that McLaren have locked down Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo until at least 2022. I don't know how far Daniel Ricciardo's contract goes, whether after that it then runs out. But it does mean that what's labelled as a silly season for Formula One because there are a lot of drivers out of contract at the end of the year, which I'm going to quickly pull up just to go through who they are, because basically the silly season refers to the fact that there's going to be a lot of, or there could be a lot of driver change movements because of the ones that are contract. But it does mean that both McLaren and Lando can settle in for the season, know where they are next year. They don't have to worry about that, whereas everyone else will have to. So the list of other drivers out of contract at the end of the season is both Mercedes drivers, so Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton are actually signing a 1-year deal for this season, which he signed very late. And his teammate Bottas. We don't know what's going to go on there. However, George Russell from Williams is out of contract. Obviously he did fill in for Hamilton in Sakir last season. So there are thoughts that he may move into one of the Mercedes spots as more of a long-term option, but still yet to see about that. Sergio Perez only signed a 1-year deal with Red Bull for this season, so I think that's more for Red Bull to be able to keep their options open. As we've seen in previous years, they don't like hanging on to that second driver spot very long because they can't find someone to match Verstappen. Perez, there was some data out that in like the first 3 Grand Prix as a Red Bull driver, Perez is actually further off Verstappen than Albon was. Right. But I think just overall, Perez does look better to me anyway, and that he probably will improve. So we'll wait and see what happens with that Red Bull spot, because who knows what they're going to do with it. I don't even think they know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Even until they do the thing that they're doing, I don't think they know what they're going to do with it. Esteban Ocon from Alpine, he's out of contract. It's quite likely that he'll probably stay on. Again, he's a driver like George Russell who is managed by Toto Wolff, so the Mercedes team principal. So there is obviously, if they don't manage to not agree a deal with Hamilton and Bottas, that's a second spot that could open. He could go there. Probably not as likely, but he has been performing a lot better this year, so more than likely probably stay at Alpine for next year.
Fair enough.
Why has this ended so soon? Because there's more than this.
Oh no, Sean, we missed something big for the gaming news.
We can go back. It's fine.
We'll go back.
But off the top of my head, I also know that Raikkonen's out of contract. Giovinazzi's out of contract. There's probably someone else, but I can't think off the top of my head. I think it might be Lance Stroll, but he's not going anywhere because his dad owns the team, so they're not going to kick him out. So even though he's pretty much safe. But yeah, I think it's something like 9 overall drivers that could be out of contract, almost half the field. So a lot of news coming up for when that's decided, and keep it nice and interesting.
Just like the Crystal
how the
Palace
2022 season is going to be. If you weren't going to go back and do something else, that would have been a good
segue.
But you fucked it.
We fucked it.
No, you fucked it.
Well, I'm sorry, Sean. I apologise profusely. But I put this in the wrong segment on my iPad, so it's here. GTA 5 and GTA Online have been long in the workings of getting next-gen upgrades. And that is finally a thing. It's finally going to happen. November 11th this year, we will be getting these upgrades. We don't know if we have to pay for them or not. Well, we know the standalone GTA Online, which will be coming out, will be a separate thing. That will be free for people on PS5 for 3 months. I don't know if that's as if after the 3 months you'll have to pay for it or what, but it will be free.
Probably because Rockstar like you to pay for things, so...
Yeah, but it will be free on PS5 for the first 3 months of release. So yeah, that's a thing. That's all. Back to Crystal Palace, like we were talking about, Sean. What's happening at Crystal Palace?
Well, they've announced that Roy Hodgson will be leaving at the end of the season. He's stepping down as first team manager. Mm-hmm. Been there for a few years. He actually pulled off one of the greatest things in Premier League history, actually, where Crystal Palace, I believe, had the worst start to a season ever, where the team has then avoided relegation. So I can't remember which season it was. It may have been his first one that he
it
took
was
over.
His first one, I believe. They went like 10 games or something, weren't it, without winning?
I thought it was 6, but
I thought it was way more. I thought I don't know if it might have been 6 losses and a bunch of draws, but they didn't win a game in like 10, I believe. It was
but it's the record for the team to have. So they lost their first 4 league games of the season without scoring a single goal, despite, and then lost his first 3 games in charge. That's 7. He was then able to survive and not be relegated, which is it's the worst start to a season a team has where they've then survived. So he did really well for Palace. He's been there since 2017. And then, so at the moment, it's mainly rumoured that Frank Lampard will take over at Crystal Palace. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but
That'd be good.
he
His
seems to be the leading one.
expectations won't be as high as they were at Chelsea, so it might suit him better.
Yeah, possibly. My only worry for him would be is that the team have a lot of players out of contract at the end of the season. They have like over a starting 11's worth. So if they don't sort that out, it could be in a bit of danger, could be struggling for to come into the job, to lose that many players, try and get new ones in and then survive. Obviously, if they're out of contract, you're not getting transfer fees in for them, so you won't have as much money to buy new players. So that could be the issue. If they're not able to tie down some of those players, they could be in the shit of what team they'll actually have. But yeah, it'd be obviously better for him than Chelsea, because at the time Chelsea needed someone to turn it around and get him Champions League football and try and win something, which, to be fair to Tuchel, he has almost done and might do next
We will
Saturday.
See. We will see how that turns out.
But yeah, in other outgoing managers, Sam Allardyce came out and said that he'd been offered to stay at West Brom next season down in the Championship, but he's refused to take the offer up.
He said he's a short-term manager, so he doesn't.
But he's
doesn't
also he's a relegation merchant, isn't he? He's good at saving people from relegation, but I don't think he's ever been in a position with a team where they could win something or need to get promoted. So it's kind of uncharted territory for him. So that may have been part of his decision as why he didn't want to.
Who did he get annoyed? Was it Michail Antonio? He got annoyed at.
Yeah, Michail Antonio made some comments after the game saying that he just plays long ball football with big guys up top, and apparently wasn't too happy about that.
He was like, my two guys up top are 5'8" and 5'10", so I don't know what he's talking about, big guys.
But to be fair, he does just play like one style of football. I don't know. He can't really moan about that. But so where he'll go next, I don't know. He'll probably just wait for one of the bottom teams, one of the newly promoted teams next year who can't quite make it. He'll swoop in, try and save them, get a job there. Who knows?
Wow.
And I was finally on footballing departures. Harry Kane is asked to leave Tottenham at the end of the season. He's clearly got frustrated with not winning trophies and wants to go somewhere else. He's apparently said that his ideal destination is Manchester City, which would work. They have Aguero leaving at the end of the season, so we'll need to find a replacement striker. Obviously, they have Gabriel Jesus, but they'll need somebody else.
I actually think he might more likely come to United, simply because the Glazers really want to get the fans on the side, and I think they'll spunk out as much money as they can to try and get someone like that.
There's going to be a big price tag on him. I think Spurs are trying to say like they want 150 million for him, and that would be before the Euros. If he then manages to perform really well in the Euros, scoring goals, that price tag's going up even further. Yeah. So it may be a point that obviously Spurs don't want to get rid of him. So it might be that they end up pricing out most teams apart from City.
Maybe if he goes to City, he might actually square it to Sterling. You know,
maybe. Yeah. Obviously, the only other thing that maybe could come into play is that obviously we've said previously that Mbappe was not looking to renew his contract at PSG. So if they looking to cash in on him this summer, if he goes somewhere else, that could free up some cash for them to put in a bid for him. Whether he'd go there, I don't know. He quite possibly might want to stay in England. But yeah,
I think he would stay in England. I think
he'd probably prefer to, but at the end of the day, if someone's going to come and offer you some money and everything, you're not going to turn it down, especially if you Spurs end up pricing a lot of the English teams out, which I can see them doing, because then you're then relying on very few clubs to turn and go, we'll actually pay this amount of money, which a lot of them won't be able to.
Yeah. Fair enough, I guess. But yeah, have you got anything else, or should I get on to the last boxing thing?
Well, for football, it was just that today Ruben Diaz was named the FWA Player of the Year, which is the Football Writers Association. So this is decided by journalists. He beat out Bruno Fernandes, who I believe they turned and said was close in second. For me, fully deserved. He's been amazing this season, and the step up as well. the difference, like from previous seasons, he's had to step into like a more senior role alongside Stones, and so he's performed brilliantly. You can't really argue with it, to be honest.
They won the league as well. Like, of course, you don't judge it just on that. But if United have won the league, I would have been surprised if Fernandes hadn't have won. You know, obviously they're going to get. Like Diaz has been such a spark there, especially in a season that's been not missing players, but players haven't been at the top of their game. De Bruyne has not been as good. Aguero, obviously, with everything going on, hasn't been the star man that everyone expects him to be. He's been they've been good at times, but City's come together more as a team rather than individuals. Because you would have said the past few seasons, Aguero and De Bruyne were the stars. Now, while you'd say Diaz, you'd probably say the defense is much improved. This area is much improved. They can improve at striker, but the whole team has improved, and you can't argue Diaz being player of the year, PFA. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get on to our last thing before.
Sorry, no, I have another football one.
Never mind.
Sorry. The BBC had announced that the Copa America is going to be shown. The whole of the competition is going to be shown on BBC.
Nice.
Which for football fans is great because it means more football. I'm assuming BBC just don't have a lot of programs to show during that time because I'm pretty sure it's airing around the same time as the Euros. So there's potential that basically the entire day is going to be covered by football, which I'm not going to argue with. The
more the merrier.
But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. So it's from 13th of June to 10th of July. So that's the same time as the Euros.
Yeah, exactly the same time as the Euros.
And the BBC, I believe, are showing that as well.
BBC's doing the Euros as well. Yeah, they must do.
So. I'll quickly check. Weird.
Why have they got both tournaments? There's going to be no normal programming on
TV rights.
Not that maybe there isn't a lot on.
Yeah, Euro 2020. Well, it's been split between BBC and ITV.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But on the 13th of June, the opening day of the Copa America, the only BBC game is the England game. The other two are both ITV ones, so that kind of helps split it up a bit. So there'll be time for everything else. So it won't be full continuous days. Yeah, but obviously, if you're switching between channels, it will be because you can just go from BBC to ITV back to BBC or whatever you want to do. But yeah, so for football fans, if you want even more football on TV shoved down your throat, Copa America, there you go. So not to complain about it because it's something that obviously a lot of the time you don't usually get to see. Because usually you're focusing more on your Euros because they're obviously you're more likely to support one of those teams from being in England. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to get to see that for once. Awesome. Obviously the first time I believe it's going to be shown in the UK.
Yeah, well, last topic then. Deontay Wilder has interjected himself into the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury match that was supposed to take place, but now is in doubt. I don't know if it's completely off or if they're going to pay off Wilder. Apparently, he's asking for 20 million to get out of the way of this match.
Yeah, so basically, it went because what was it? Fury had signed a deal with Wilder, which I believe was even a 3-fight.
It was 2-match deal. Yeah.
So why are they saying he has to fight him?
Because the first match was a draw. So they were saying match, because Tyson Fury won the second one, Wilder's owed a rematch, and they're trying to give it to him. I believe it's a load of crap.
So I'm not quite sure how that works, but yeah, basically they're trying to say that Fury needs to fight Wilder again by the 15th of September. Obviously, he was scheduled to fight Anthony Joshua in August, so he won't have to do both of them. And yeah, he's turned around and said that he wants 20. He will step aside if he's given £20 million. So basically, he wants a quick payday. By the looks of it, is that he knows he's not going to get a fight, but well, he either gets the fight and he wants to try and win. Don't think he will because he's shit. Or he gets a big payday for doing fuck all, which will probably happen. Hopefully. I say hopefully. I want it to happen because I don't want to see Fury Wilder again because it's pointless. And we all want to see AJ Fury. But at the same time, I'm not all for giving Wilder this massive payday for no reason.
If AJ Fury gets postponed again, no, it'll be dead in the water, I think. Like, everyone's been waiting for so long, and even now people are like, it's been so long, I have no interest anymore.
Yeah.
But if it gets postponed one more time...
Well, I think the only thing that's obviously going to save it is the fact that it's, like, it's still a unifying the belts thing, so it still has that behind it. Obviously, unless Fury then loses and loses a belt, then that'll talk that shit. But
that'd be terrible. But yeah, that's all we know about that for now. We'll move on to our final thing of the day, which is the Premier League Hall of Fame announcements. All 6, alongside Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry, have been announced now. We'll go through the list quickly. Roy Keane was announced, Eric Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, and David Beckham. Those are all of the announcements, all of the inductees, in this year's Premier League Hall of Fame. You can't argue, I don't think you can argue against any of them, but I'm a little shocked.
It's as we said in our video last week, I was going to go and watch it, is that everyone in that nominees list obviously deserves to be there. It was more of a case of personal preference on who you'd put in first.
Yeah.
So no one's going to kind of go, oh, this person shouldn't be in there, because that's not the case.
I'm not going to complain about 3 former United players being in there, but I still believe they should have varied it a bit more. Schmeichel should have been in there. If they were going to put Lampard and Gerrard, why'd they not put Scholes with them? Because that would stop so much controversy.
No, because we want the controversy. Now we know that Scholes was the worst out of all 3 of them, so there's no argument anymore.
But was he? Was he?
Clearly.
Clearly.
The public has spoken, Jimmy. This wasn't just a group of random people. This was the public. The public have spoken that Lampard and Gerrard are better than Scholes.
I'm surprised Gerrard went in there, to be honest. I'm not anything against
fucking legend.
Yeah, but not anything against it. But I thought they maybe would have gone for Premier League winners first. I know it's, but again, vote,
it was a public vote. So.
I thought like fans might have been more adamant to try and get, but I guess every Liverpool supporter would have voted for Gerrard over.
And it depends, like, if it's just anybody in the world, because we've seen before that the power of like the Egyptians with Mo Salah's fans, of how they can sway voters. They managed to get Salah like 3rd in the presidential race, even though it wasn't even running, or shit like that. That. So you got all those behind him then. Especially with the fact that it was Gerrard, Fowler and Owen, the only 3 people who played for Liverpool on that list. And especially if you're like a younger or newer fan, you're more likely to know Gerrard than the other 2. So if you're a Liverpool fan, you'll probably vote for him.
He should be on the list.
Why.
I don't want to argue that he's not on the list. It's just trying to find someone to take off. I personally wouldn't have put Eric Cantona on there. Not yet. I love Cantona as a United supporter. But I would have stopped the controversy and put Scholes in, and then have inducted Cantona on the next go in.
But we want the controversy. We love the controversy.
Simply because Cantona...
We live for it.
Simply because Cantona did it, 4 years? 5 years, maybe? And a lot of the other players on the list did it for way longer. Scholes did it for way longer. So that's the main reason. But I won't argue with the list. I know... I'm not going to sit here and argue for Bergkamp. You can't
argue with the list. Chris Jericho will come and beat you up if you argue with the list.
I'm not going to say I grew up on Dennis Bergkamp, so I don't really know everything about him.
Legend's what he was.
Oh, we know that. There is Beckham. But I personally would have put Schmeichel on this list. I don't know who I would have taken out. Probably either Bergkamp or Cantona. I'm surprised they put 3 former United players. I'm surprised it was voted for three former United players.
So if you think about it, like Man United massively dominated.
They should be
Premier
on here.
League era, so it's no wonder they put so many Man United
Yeah.
players in, because if you're looking at the time scale of things, Man United dominate most of the time.
It should be dominated by United and Arsenal players, if we're being realistic. Which is why I'm not surprised Bergkamp's on there. If we're talking retirees, because a lot of, you'll get a few former Liverpool players as well in there, Fowler eventually, but a lot of like City players, Chelsea. While you've got your legends, John Terry, company. A lot of the teams are newer. They came into power later on. So you're less likely to see them on this list, and obviously Company's not eligible, but he should be straight in as soon as he is. He's not eligible, is he? They didn't put him on the list, so I don't think he is. No. But yeah, like I'm not disappointed with the list. I'm just saying, as the only keeper on the list, I would have put Schmeichel in. So I'm surprised that more people didn't vote for him, just simply on that fact, and the fact that he's probably the best keeper in Premier League history.
So we said that last week, that Schmeichel probably deserves a bit more respect than he's going to get, and what he did get in this. That he's a great goalkeeper, and goalkeepers do tend to get overlooked on things like this, because obviously, with a striker and midfield and things, you have the stat of goals scored to back them up, whereas you don't really have anything. You can say clean sheets for a goalkeeper, but you can have a great performance as a goalkeeper without keeping a clean sheet, because at the end of the day, your defence can let you down massively and something like that. So,
one question I'll put to you: do you have the list of players that you got? That you picked?
No.
Okay. Do you remember?
Lampard, Gerrard, Schmeichel. I think I did put Arsenal defender. What's he called?
Tony Adams.
So good.
Did you put Tony Adams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I left a spot open, didn't I, for more of a discussion.
Yeah.
I
want to put to you, out of all the players that you wanted to go in, and the players that have been inducted in, replace one of your players with one that has been inducted in that you haven't got. Who would you replace? Like, personally, I'd replace probably Ferdinand for Roy Keane. Thinking back on it, that's the change I probably would have made. It's a hard one. Yeah, it is a hard one.
Yeah. I'll maybe sway towards Bergkamp. I do really like Bergkamp, if I'm honest.
There's great players. They're all great. We say it every time. They're all great players. They wouldn't be on this list if they weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go for Bergkamp. It's probably more because I don't want to admit to putting a Man United player in there. But I think I had Lampard, Gerrard, and Keane. To be fair, so then it's between Cantona, Beckham, and Bergkamp. Then for me, and Archie's Bergkamp.
Yeah. That's fine by me. But yeah, that has been the Reverbium podcast for this week. Under an hour for once, which is nice. Very nice. Although we did fuck up and have to, record another go, but we don't talk about that.
Didn't happen.
Anyway, if you got this far, well done to you. Not many people do.
You deserve a medal.
You deserve a JAACKMAATE'S golden ticket, possibly worth 10k, just like the one we almost got.
Although you're probably not going to find it.
We're really milking. We're trying to, guys, gals, whoever's watching this, we're trying to clickbait really hard. The algorithm.
No, we're not. We'd never do such a thing like that.
The algorithm's really hurting us.
We would never do such a thing like that.
We're trying.
But if for somehow you do watch it, make sure you like it, so then the algorithm no longer fucks us. Please. Thank you.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter, all the normal stuff. Go back and watch our old podcasts, especially the past few weeks. A lot of them are relevant still. Especially last week's for the Premier League Hall of Fame. It's a continuation on this week's. I think it was last week's we did that.
Last week's.
Yeah, We got a few other videos.
Oh, good way to know your own stuff, Jimmy.
I just did it off the top of my head, Sean. Shut up. Next week, we've got a Premier League end of season discussion coming your way. So that'll be fun. Yeah. We're going to look back at our old things, our old predictions, and see how close we got. I have not looked back at all since we did the mid-season talk. I will try and edit the tables on our screen, maybe make amends. However, I currently do not have the facilities for that, big man. So we will see. The week after, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there.
But it's news. We're not supposed to know what we're going to do.
We kind of, yeah, but we do kind of sometimes. There was something we were meant to do, but I've completely forgotten what it is. And I don't remember if it's the week after the next.
It's just I had ideas of like we'll probably run out of time doing like who would put in the England squad for the Euros, because obviously that'll probably get announced before we manage to do another episode.
We could do something.
Fuck me.
What a great way to end the video. You know what? We're ending it on that. We'll see you next week.